Well, hello everybody, Mike with Spray Jones coming to you with another video on spray foam insulation. Today I thought we'd just ride along shotgun as one of my crew does a retrofit job here on a house that would have been built in the 1960s sometime. They did an addition onto the house, and then while they had the home open, they decided to upgrade and do about 90 feet of existing wall, and that's what we're picking up with here. I've sped it up 1.7 times faster than it is, just so we're not sitting here all day while he does this. Old-timey boards. This is a home that would have been constructed before plywood was widely being used, so you'll see that the floorboards aren't using plywood, and the wall sheathing is using half-inch boards by 5.5 or 6 inches wide. A lot of this stuff was rough cut. Some of it was slightly milled, a little bit better. But the boards don't permit you to have a nice smooth spray foam application. So as you've seen him going down the wall here, every time you got a seam, the foam's going to creep into that seam, which is good. You want that, but it's going to leave these ripples. So you're going to get a lot more distortion and rolling of the foam. It's actually quite difficult if you're a new spray foam guy and you watch my videos to kind of get educated and stuff. Great. We're glad to have you. These jobs can be really difficult to make them look appealing. You'll see a little bit later here that he's going to get his gun spraying a little bit better, and he gets a little bit better results. But with all the angles and all of the oddball stud bays, the foam's continuously crawling and rolling and making extra lumps and bumps. Here he's grabbed this toolkit and he's just drilling out the chamber. So the mixing chamber is where the two products meet, and there will eventually be residual material built up in there, even though the gun is an air purge, meaning it purges the mixed material out with compressed air. Eventually you get to the point where there's still a little bit of residual material in there, so they use a drill bit to drill it out. And then what he's doing here is he's putting a mold release agent, a special foam release agent, on his mask so that the overspray doesn't stick to his clear lens. He's got a peel away face shield to protect it, but even that we still put the spray on so that they can get the overspray off, and they're not continuously having to do peel away shields on and off. There you're seeing it spray a lot better now, but you're seeing every one of those boards do what I'm talking about. It's gonna leave a ripple in it. So you just know that you're going to be using more material on these types of jobs, right? They're going to be lumpier, bumpier. When you're bidding it, when you're pricing it, you should be a little bit higher on the old-timey jobs because they take a little bit longer to prep out. We find that the old lumber, it's harder to tape off and mask certain things. Tapes don't like to stick and what have you. Scraping is a lot slower, especially if it's a rough cut board versus something that's been sawed smooth. So the foam's spraying a lot better for him here now. He's just able to lay it on more controlled. He can tell when he's got a heavy portion of the pattern. And a good spray foam installer is constantly adjusting what the pattern is doing for them. So if the pattern is a little bit heavier, you're going to rotate and maybe, hold the gun a little bit at a different angle. Here he's drilling it out one more time, and then he'll have it the way he wants it. The settings, air compressor, do you have dry air, do you have wet air, what's the barometric pressure today, what's the humidity in the air today, what's the temperature of the wall, what's the temperature on your settings. All of these have a huge bearing on just how well you can get the foam to dial in. Some days it's a battle, even for the veterans, so don't feel discouraged if you're having a battle one day. Sometimes the foam system just doesn't want to cooperate. Here he's got an oddball stud bay, skinny, and so he's going to go in there and spray, and then a lot of times my guys will just rip the foam off with their bare hands as it's coming out versus having to trim everything later. There is going to be a lot of trimming, so we've always used tape. People ask all the time, what do you put on the stud face? Well, it's just packaging tape, something cheap and inexpensive to put on the stud face so the stud face is clean. And you might say, well, why don't you get better at spraying and then you're not going to be on the stud? Well, you could. But we have found that a lot of cases overspray is a good thing for inside the stud cavities to just help seal up cracks and where the studs meet the bottom of the plates. And you're going to get something on something. So why not just go and put packaging tape on things where need be? If you're good enough that you're never going to miss, well, then that's up to you. But we've found with all the experience that we've had that we just rather have a tape on the stud face, and then you can go at it, spray, and then it's a heck of a lot better than scraping. Scraping is an arduous task, and it doesn't look as good. Like, to keep the stud face virgin, like it's never had foam on it, it's very appealing to the eye, because then you've got spray foam, and even if it's a little lumpy and bumpy, you pull the tape off, you shave everything off, it sticks out, and you have sort of more of a clear transition, and it's more appealing to the eyesight. And then people generally will complain a little bit less. But if you scrape the studs, it's not quite as good looking as the final presentation. And people generally, that's where they start to begin to complain with what they see, right? So here he's just detailing out the cross supports. Again, all of these oddball stud bays and oddball pieces of lumber inside the bay is going to make the foam roll and kick and bulge a little bit more than normal, which is fine. I mean, that's why they were going for foam in the first place. Get a modern solution into this home. It's open now. Let's seal the thing up. It's never had a proper vapor barrier. Now you can have closed cell foam, and when we're done, we're going to do all the caulking and air sealing when he does the cleanup. So start out with your tight areas and then work your way into your more open areas. It can be difficult if you do the big areas first and then try to work your way into the tighter spots and you didn't get in there first. Here you see him, he's just snapping and breaking it while it's still flexible and easy. You know, once you've been around the foam for a long time, it starts to lose its mystique. You know, everybody's watching it like, ooh, this is so neat. I could watch this all day long. Yeah, well, when you do it for a living and you've watched the spray foam a lot, it's just a function of like a professional mechanic. Like, I want to get in, I want to get out, I want to disassemble, clean things up, fix things up, do my job, and get on to the next thing. You know, you don't want to exhaust any more energy than you absolutely have to. So that's why my guys start from the top down. People have said, well, why don't you work bottom up? Because it just takes a little bit more effort to get your arm up, and then all you're doing is controlling descent rather than flexing and trying to bring your gun up. And then as you're going higher and higher and higher, you're progressively getting tired, and you're going to lose motor control. So here you're just seeing how the foam is going to curl and bump a lot more when he's getting in the corners and into the edges. Sometimes that stuff, it can bother you, and other times it doesn't have to. So he's going to probe, pull his probe out here in a bit, and he's pretty good at getting an average. Here's his probe. He's pretty good at getting an average. You know, he's going to want to hit his mark no more than a 1/4 inch low to a 1/4 inch high, but he can start to tell pretty quick where his averages are out of whack and where something needs touching up. Again, you never go with spray foam because the foam is a perfectly smooth option. You're going because of how it bonds. So here he's grabbing the camera and just showing us what he's doing. 90 feet around. Looks pretty good. Then he's going to peel everything off, and away we go. So click on the share, like, and subscribe. That's what it's going to look like when he's done. Clean and neat. Share, like, and subscribe. Share it with somebody that needs to see. Comment. And we'll catch you on a future video.